Well, collectors, here we are now. We're down in Baltimore at the Timonium Antique Arms Sale. It's March 16th, 2019. This show has mostly antique arms, but there are quite a bit of Third Reich items available here. It didn't used to be that way. It used to be that Third Reich items were forbidden here, and it was just antique guns. But as the gun dealers got older and a lot of them have passed on, they needed people to fill the tables. So little by little, there's quite a bit of Third Reich things that are coming in here. So we hope to have a good haul today, and we'll keep you posted as we go along. I think it's going to be a good show. At least it's not raining, a little chilly, but otherwise it's going to be all right. We'll see you in there. Well, we just got into the show here at Baltimore Arms and ran into my old buddy Ron Burkay here. There he is. And this lovely lady back there. You saw her in our last video, I think, if you watch our stuff. But we ran into a kind of a really nice first model Luftwaffe dagger. This one is by David Mausch, and you don't see them too often. And what's interesting about the Mausch pieces, if you look at the links on the chain, you'll notice that the rings are flat on the edges. So apparently they either made these chains themselves or they bought them from a specialty manufacturer in the area where they were. So to me, for people that are interested in first model Luftwaffe daggers, it makes for an interesting thing. And also on this piece, the silvering is still intact between the sun wheels. A lot of times on a piece that's really well worn, the silvering will no longer be there and the whole thing looks brass instead of just the sun wheel supposedly being brass the way they were meant to be. And it also has a real nice blade with the Mausch producer. Their etch was very, very light, and you can just about make out the trademark, but they do have a Waffen amp too there, which is a norm for an early piece. So if you're collecting Luftwaffe daggers, this is very desirable in my opinion. Plus it even has the original belt loop on it. What more could you want? It's a really great piece, Ron. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'm glad it's going to a good home.
It's going to a good home, and I can assure you it'll go to an appreciative collector.
Excellent.
Hopefully for just a small profit for poor old Wittmann, you know. Oh, we're going down the aisles here at the Baltimore show, and just to give you an idea of some of the things you can see here. This dealer, Bill Reno, been around a long time. It's neat the way he sets his display up so he can get a lot of things here in a small area. Here he has a series of police-related badges and insignia, along with some shooting lanyards underneath, and then various medals, buttons, and things like that. And then the whole affair spins around, and he's got some good buckles, Army, Luftwaffe, more Army buckles, well, more Army than anything else, USAs, and lower down he has a category for RAD things, as well as some party badges. There's a nice political leader buckle here. We'll turn it around. Here we have a lot of shoulder boards. And underneath that, breast insignia, as well as some collar insignia. And then down below, some a Luftwaffe sports shirt insignia. And we keep going around here, and then we get to some armbands. These are the standard SA, NSDAP, and then here's a higher up political leader but the tariff is pretty high on those, $775. An armband like that is fairly rare. And then down below, a Hitler Youth armband, a general's collar tab or something of that nature. And then, of course, you have the usual a Krankenträger is a stretcher bearer. So that's just kind of some of the things you can see here at this show. Interesting stuff, of course. Well, again, here we are. You just never know what you're going to run into at one of these shows. Look at this trumpet banner. Absolutely fantastic. Has the skull on it. SSOA Rhine. And then on the back of it, it has the SS runes. Beautiful work here with the brocade streamers, and here's the other side with an eagle. Absolutely fantastic stuff. This was it's a couple of trumpet banners and a drum cover, all from the same SS unit. And apparently these were owned by a general that was in Guatemala. Is that
he retired to Guatemala.
Retired to Guatemala, and somehow he got involved in the Contra affair back in the 80s, and he was killed. So apparently his estate offered these up. But what wonderful, wonderful things.
Actually, he lives in Indianapolis, but he did. I don't know.
Fantastic. Well, we're just looking at these further, and if somebody's interested in this kind of stuff, this trumpet banner for the OA Rhine is worth about $40,000, and the drum skirt is about $30,000. So it's something to think about for some of you guys that are really serious SS collectors here. Well, there's another item here that you collectors just got to see. This is one of the pole-top finials for a Deutschland Airwacht Standard, and it was actually found preserved in a apartment in New York City a number of years ago. It's in the best condition I've ever seen. It's mint. Look at the gild on the eagle. And what you want to see on these two, they're stamped 1923 on one side, and on the reverse side they have the name Otto Gar. Otto Gar was Hitler's jeweler, and Gar made these Deutschland Airwacht finials, as well as the SS rings and the hilts for the SS birthday swords, and on and on and on. But just absolutely a real treasure here. And it's not overly priced either. This could be bought for about $35,000. Not bad considering the condition. Best one I've ever seen. Well, we stopped by and we're looking at a wonderful cutlass here that it's a Bavarian type that the owner has dated back to the late 1870s. But look at the wonderful condition of the gilded parts, and it's complete with the skinner, and we'll show you the gorgeous blade on it. Really, really beautiful with the blue and gold. On both sides. And then the skinner, I'll show you that too. It's beautifully etched. Really a classy thing. Well, we're still shopping here. And I don't know, for an antique arms show, there certainly is a lot of Nazi stuff here. I don't know, maybe we ought to call and complain. But, I found another couple of pieces here that we don't see too often. This RAD, if you look closely, is one of the ones with a full stag grip that comes all the way up and covers the top here. You don't see too many of them, and they're always by Carl Eichhorn, which this piece is too. There we have the Arbeit adult, and then the Carl Eichhorn trademark, if you can see it. But it's not too bad of a piece. I might make an offer on it and see what I can do here. And then there's a glider pilot, but it doesn't have a hanger. That hurts it quite a bit. But the leather's kind of nice on it, and the fittings are pretty good. I think I might make an offer on these things. Oh, we've come across a terrific display here showing some original canvas cut out of the World War I Fokker airplane. You can see this is the piece of canvas that came from the airplane, and here's the airplane itself with the canvas still intact. And then there's a story here of how William S. Johnson from the 4th Battalion, Seaforth Highlanders, sounds like a British division, captured this on the River Marne, July 20th, 1918. There's also a great display of a uniform. On the other side, there's a nice Third Reich uniform too. There's a nice Luftwaffe helmet with a chicken wire on it, an original. Beautiful condition. It looks like the decal is just about 100%. This is really a wonderful display. It's the less is more concept, and you can really appreciate what's here. It's really terrific. Hey collectors, we just found some really neat stuff. Old Chuck Scaglione here, you know Chuck, many years. Best guy on the circuit. He comes running up, hey Tommy, look what I just found here. Look at these candlesticks. And my God, I think they're the best candlesticks I've ever seen. You know that the factories, they made these candlesticks out of hilts, and usually, you know, you see army sword hilts and naval sword hilts with a candle bracket on the top. But whoever saw Hunting Association Hirschfanger grips with real stag grips, I noticed the nuts are running the long way.
But I need to take one of these Oakleys off. I need it for a watch fob.
No, you can't do that, sir. Look at the clamshells. They show dogs on them. Beautiful bases, and there's even antler that forms the drip thing for the candle. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, how can I not buy these? These are terrific. Wow, thanks so much, Chuck, for showing me these.
Our pleasure.
Gotta get it. And we're looking at a very interesting item here. I was talking about the people that are manning the table, not the horseshoe. But, this is Gerhard here, and his wife Leonie. You know these people. That guy hiding in the corner there, Herr Kanzler. But one of the things that Gerhard has here that's really interesting, it's kind of a, I guess like a cigar match holder, and it's fashioned over a horse's hoof. And it looks like they're all nickel parts, or maybe they're silver plated. But what's really interesting though is that match case itself is engraved Pat Garrett, Sheriff. And for all you Western fans, I'm sure you know Pat Garrett. Tombstone, is it?
Tombstone, I think.
Tombstone, Walter says, but it's a very, very interesting thing.
Yes, they are.
And we're looking at some other things here too.
And my dad's
There's
family.
a beautiful court sword. Comes from Prussia, but it's not Kaiser Wilhelm II. This one is from his grandfather, Wilhelm I. So this must come from probably the 1850s, I would
It's
say.
not a court sword, it's infantry officers, the old style infantry officers.
Ah, correction. Gerhard says it's not a court sword.
Grade.
Oh, really? A general's grade infantry officer sword. It's very beautiful with gilded parts, and it looks like a mother of pearl grip with the Kaiser cipher. And then it has a marvelous blade with blue and gold panels. Really, really beautiful. These are the kinds of things you just don't see much in America. Would you be more apt to see something like this in Europe, Gerhard?
I bought it here,
Oh, you bought it here?
about 40 years ago.
Ah, so it's been,
Been hiding in my collection.
you've been admiring it for 4 decades.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now
That's
it's time
really,
to
really beautiful. I love that.
share it.
Yeah.
Either now or never.
Oh, you can see collectors. There's just anything and everything at this wonderful show, including Walter.
Yeah, here you'll see my guns. Something I don't usually have at the other shows. That's
What is
mainly
this?
do.
What is this gun, Walter?
That's a fairly rare thing. It's a Dryza needle fire revolver, a military one.
What does needle fire mean?
What they did is, when they first started getting into cartridges, instead of putting the primer at the back, they had it behind the bullet, and the needle went through the powder and pierced the powder charge and hit off the primer.
Oh, I never knew that. Maybe you collectors didn't know that either. So there's some
It
little.
is actually a paper cartridge.
Really?
Yeah, and it's extremely rare. That's the only known military issued one.
And is it a revolver though?
Oh yeah, it's a regular revolver where it's double action. You would pull the trigger and all, but you know,
Yeah. Wow,
it's the only one known with military markings.
what year would you give this
This is
approximately?
probably about 1840 to 1850.
Wow.
Right around the time of Colt. I mean, everybody was trying to figure out a way to make a self-contained cartridge and
Right,
this and that. And this was one of the ones that didn't really make it. Colt blew them out of the water, basically. But
Would these have been used in the Civil War, or they're not dependable enough?
this here is one of 37 that I know of.
Very rare gun then.
And these are just regular German military and a civilian. This is an interesting one because look at where it's from
Where should I look?
on the lock plate.
All right, Robbie, you can get the lens on that, and let's see where.
It's from Danzig. It's a civilian.
Oh, from Danzig.
Yeah, from Danzig, which is something.
See,
You
this
don't
this
see,
would be
but there
Poland
was-
today.
There was a German military arsenal in Danzig. I've never seen anything civilian from there. Gerhard has. I have.
This would be a cap and ball
Yeah, cap
type.
and ball.
You put the cap over here and explode and push the powder and the ball. And what year is this about?
That about 1840.
1840. Yeah.
Roughly right around the same time.
Yeah.
And that's a Saxon military and a Prussian military.
I always like Saxon stuff is always well made.
Well, the Germans were very, very safety conscious.
Oh,
So
hey,
that
that's cool.
protects the nipple. You can have the gun loaded with
Yeah.
the cushion cap on it and put the hammer down and be safe.
And not have to worry about it. Yeah, because you can imagine how easy it was to
Oh,
screw
yeah.
up
Just
on
if you
one of
dropped
these
it,
things.
yeah, it would go off.
The next thing you know, you're missing a leg. or even worse.
And this is the standard German military pistol from the 1870s. Actually, it's a model 1851. They carried them right through the 1870s. Guys were carrying cartridge rifles and these pistols in the Franco-Prussian War.
Wow. How is it, Walter, that I can ask you about something over here, a goblet, or something here, something there, a knife, a gun, and how can you possibly know all of this about everything?
Because I'm old.
It's just amazing the amount of knowledge that you have, and I know Gerhardt's the same way.
Oh my God,
He's even smarter.
yes.
Somebody could walk in here with a 16th century conquistador helmet on, and Gerhardt would know what it is and know where it was made.
No question. No question about that. That's the whole thing about this business, knowledge, as you know.
Yeah, but
But you
it's,
know everything about daggers.
yeah, but it's just a little subject. You know so much about everything. It's just
Well,
you guys are too smart for me. You must have done good on your college SATs. Your fathers didn't have to pay
neither
you
one
to go to
of
college.
neither one of us went to college.
Oh, don't say that. We thought you were all PhDs.
Yeah, right.
We're looking at a display of samurai armor here. I don't know much about these things, but I know that it can be very, very desirable and very valuable. There's a complete outfit here and a shield, some wonderful paint drawings.
Brownells has the red and white.
And even a few samurai swords to go with. Great looking stuff here.
Well, if you're going to shoot it, you're not going to shoot
I'm not so sure it's all original because the prices seem fairly too cheap for what it is, but I don't know.
I got.
I would think an outfit like this has got to be worth more than $2,900. Maybe this stuff is not original. I'm sure we'll get some letters from somebody that knows samurai things. We're winding the show up here in Baltimore, and as we're exiting, we came across a really fantastic bronze here. As you can see, it's a tree. It's a Confederate sniper. You can see it's a cap and ball rifle. The soldier sitting in the tree. What an outrageous bronze. There's even a small canteen hanging from one of the branches. Just tremendous. Isn't that great, collectors?